standard gameplay map. Let's go in. Let's go in and you know, that's a funny spawn. And it's a crater lake, which is basically something like Gold Rush, but with water, as you are having the gold on the middle island, and this is this is really funny spawn. With a ton of wolves, of course, that's normal. It's not really a kind of problem, and I'm kind of thinking that if Skull remembers this, they played it like 2 or 3 seasons ago, and Skull got absolutely brutalized by the wolves on the island. He like landed there like twice or some such and lost all the villages to wolves. So let's see if he's going to be playing something similar. And I'm also thinking he actually might have misplayed by deleting his TC. And it might have been even the Crater Lake again. I remember something like that a few seasons ago. It really might have been the same map, so let's see if Skull is going to be reminiscing on that unfortunate game or if it's going to be slightly better for him. So far, today, the game seems to be pretty much fine. Rather, the match seems to be going pretty much fine for CZs as they are just one game from victory in the Bronze Banner Battle. Otherwise, civilizations, Mongols, Vikings, Spanish. For CZs, for VIKs, we are seeing Huns, Vikings, Mongols, so switch in Huns and Spanish. And that's basically telling you that CZs are going to be attempting to use basically the safe trade route, or safe. It's reasonably safe because of the spawn, and you can see green, yellow, and blue. So basically they are having a very easy trade route. It's going to be very easy for him to wall, like literally even too easy on this side as well. Not really any kind of problem. The safe trade route and the Spanish trade bonus is so huge, it's really going to be making a ton of difference in the game. Both of these double wars on the left for Winchester, right now I'm going to be discovering them exactly as we are looking at it. Let's turn off, for example, the Fog of War, as it might be interesting to have a look how the players are scouting. He has already found the double golds and the stone in here, double stone as well, so he basically knows all that he needs to know, and he's just now going to be waiting where his opponents are, or rather, who his opponents are. Pitching into, for example, Follow Your Mind, who is right now discovering the choke point where he will need to wall. It's going to be very easy for him, just now looking at the Wolfie. Going to see short wall in here, oh, yeah, he has already found the part of the wall where it ends, of course, and he's right now going to be retreating back for the sheep, I'm thinking, because he will definitely need them, not only for the wool for the loom, but of course for the food that they actually supply as well. Where is he having the boars? One of the boars is right now being lured right next to the TC. And do we see the other one? Ah, here, behind the forest. Probably not going to be all that easy to lure. A bit tricky next to the tree line, but still should be pretty much fine. So yeah, not really any kind of problem, especially with the loom already being on the villages. Drop in a dock, as we are going to be turning back the Fog of War so that we have a look where everybody is right now. Drop in the docks. And it seems like that this is going to be a pretty good position for him, but the shape of the island is sucky for both Skull and Nazgul, because Nazgul is having nothing. He's having literally just this one deep fish, and 1-2 shorefish. Okay, 3 shorefish. That's all he's fishing. It's absolutely horrible for him. You can see nothing on the left, just a few shorefish. And he's going to be facing against Winchester. So that's one of the toughest situations he actually could have found himself in. And he's definitely going to be aiming for the middle if he discovers it. Because so far, I'm not really sure that he even knows the true extent of the disaster on the water. He's probably right now going to be having a pretty good idea through the scouting that the situation is pretty tough, and even tougher with the purple. As purple has lost the scout, quite interestingly enough, in the fight in here, and I'm not exactly sure why, but probably because he received some extra damage, maybe through luring the boar or some such, not exactly sure indeed. And just right now checking if he hasn't stolen a boar. Seems so, as there is palisade wall basement, or other base around the palisade wall, so that actually Nazgul sees somebody is moving in there when the wolf moves as well. But otherwise inside his base he seems to be pretty much content, and oh well, yep, it's quite fine for him, because those trees are definitely plugging the holes in there together with the stone as well. So just one short wall, and they are all pretty much fine from both of the sides for themselves. Just in walling. Rob is spurt. by the blue scout, or what was that? Was it maybe trying to prevent death by wolf? Potentially. At any rate, pretty interesting. He's right now going to be finishing with the wall, of course, as the blue player is right now picking the best spot, where he needs to build just one wall yet again, and we'll be hoping, also quite nice win in the rally, that that's going to be pretty much enough, and they will win the water for their team, as this is really going to be all about the water, because without it, it's going to be quite hard to push through the right sides, or rather, the right and the left side. Taking into Feudal Age, or rather advancing into Feudal Age already. Winchester as the very fast one, very first one. Warrior is not really far behind if Follow Your Mind either. And I'm kind of curious who's actually going to be fast castling, if anybody is. And it's looking like, looking at the villagers, Skull is definitely fast castling at 25. Whereas the opponents probably aren't, as they are clicking into Feudal already a bit earlier. So we could be expecting that actually all three VIKs are going for Galley Rushing. It's almost looking like that exactly. And that might be, well, not the best of ideas, especially considering that actually Nazgul doesn't have any kind of support from the water economy. You can see just now building all the way to the back, so that he discovers at least something in this cove. But yeah, same kind of unlucky situation happening for Skull, and he's also not having any kind of significant bonus from his water economy, which means that his faster castle age is also not really going to be all that great overall. Blue already having a bit of look around, with the galleys trying to find where the dogs from the opponent are, which are a lot more defensive than actually how it stands right now by Follow Your Mind. But since Follow Your Mind wasn't in any kind of peninsula like his opponent, building dogs about here would be like stupid. He is of course not, or rather wasn't having any kind of choices where to build his dogs all that much. Rat arriving around the island, purple from the top as well it seems like. So they are going to be arriving at basically just one spot and trying to get rid of all the fishies that Skull is right now using for his fast castle. And that might really put a bit of a dent into his plan. And let's see if Blue Follow Your Mind will be able to somehow control the situation or not, because so far he's of course going to be doubled. That's not really a good situation for him at all. Bit of scouting by the green boat, as it's almost looking like that actually CZs are slightly waiting with the water. You can see that he's hiding Nazgul. Everything is hiding inside his docks. Not really wanting to engage before he's having enough numbers. Whereas on the right, it's looking like that actually red, together with purple, are doing a pretty good job against green, or rather against blue, as yellow is still not helping and will be quite surely advancing into the next age sometime soon. Encourage arriving in here as well. Wheelbarrow being researched first, who's definitely going for full-on boom. And looking at the Willies, we are having just Winchester at 22. Curiously enough, to be honest, a really low amount of villages overall. Not exactly sure what's the reason in that. But it seems like that his economy is not really working all that much for him. Yeah, he didn't really have all that many fishing boats either, because he was in the same precarious situation as the green player, who is right now engaging, or rather disengaging from purple, the opposite thing, and seems to be heading to the bottom basically to help with the water fighting in here. But I'm kind of thinking that it might be already too late, because looking at blue, he's having dogs at the bottom right now, basically switching from the top position into the bottom into a bit more defensive fun. And let's see if this army is going to be enough to help with that. It won't. It won't, because the army right now is quite strong from courage. And it's almost looking like that this is actually going to be lost water for CZs. And they might actually want to switch into some kind of different strategy, and I'm not exactly sure what it could be on a map like this, because it's basically crucial for you to be having basically water advantage. But since we are seeing that there is a bit of funny landing, and how did he get there? I'm fairly certain I haven't seen actually any yellow dot on the minimap. So I'm not really sure how he got there. Couldn't have gotten there through the side, so that had to be a landing. That had to be a landing. And maybe he just basically deleted his transport ship not to give it up, which would be a pretty good idea. And this might be a pretty big surprise, because even though you can see that purple is right now ready with a few houses in there, these are basically just random placements. You can see they are not close to each other. It's going to be a pretty big surprise to him And oh man, this could be quite brutal. This could be quite brutal because Skull is right now going into Castle Age halfway in there. And once he gets the siege ramps, or rather not siege ramps, battalion ramps of course, in the Castle Age, oh man, Winchester is going to be in knee-deep trouble because he's having the weakest economy so far. And he's definitely going to pay for this because this is not going to work for him at all. And you can see that Nazgul is, as a Viking, doing all he can to basically keep the opponents engaged on the water and basically falsely make them think that they are fighting for the water fully. You can see Winchester still having pretty decent army. And that's so well played right now by CZs. That's so well played. It's a sneaky play in here. And even though they are losing the water quite convincingly, they are still making enough effort and fooling VIKs quite fully. Fooling them fully. As they are also right now killing the villages and doing exactly what they need to do. So that's 2 villages dead right now for Winch. Oh, that would have been about 3 here, 26 I think. There is another skeleton. So another villager dead. Castle Age in. This is quite nicely upgraded both into armor and the attack. Oh man, this just turned into pretty horrible disaster for Winchester because he's dropped to 21 villagers. He has lost 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 villagers. 7 villagers at this stage of the game. And he's not even advancing into Castle Age. Oh wow. And he's having no food whatsoever. Like absolutely no food. Oh man, this is horrible. This is horrible, and of course the knights are right now going to be coming in, and that's even worse. So they basically eliminated Winchester just like that, even though he's doing all he can basically to protect himself, and mainly the wood line and the gold line. But still, this is a horrible situation because right now it's going to be easy way into Red's base, even though he is reacting by walling himself in as well. But without one player, and the most important one, Winchester, is going to be super tough. You can see Siege Workshop already done. With Skull. Going to be getting ready with the Mangonels, of course. And yep, it's going to be goodbye TC. And I'm not exactly sure how he can survive this. He should be... I'm thinking he should be already fleeing through transport ships. Because there's absolutely no way that he can somehow survive this. Especially since Nazgul is from the top making sure that he isn't going anywhere at all. Like literally at all. And if Skull plays this correctly, there's absolutely no running away. So I'm fairly certain he should already be attempting to basically run through transport ship about here. I'm going to switch if he has the same idea. Doesn't seem so. So he's basically going to be fighting it till the end. And maybe somehow miraculously hoping that his allies might be surviving, but go into the side, and transport ship is here. Exactly. Yep. That's what should be happening, and right now it's exactly going to be happening. So at least a few villages are going to be saved. And even though he's gonna lose absolutely everything inside the base in here. Oh, yellow, careful. Skull, you need to see in this. He isn't. Right now he's going there at least. And to catch the villages running away. But he's having the army in all the wrong places, so all those villages could be potentially running away. And it's going to be round 2. Somehow protect this transport ship. There's some armies from the opponents, doesn't seem so, just a bit of green, but being pursued by a whole lot of army by both teal and red. So there shouldn't be any kind of problem at all. As well, of course, transporting is going to be working quite nicely, and he's going to be transporting them into safety into red's part of the map, and still, he should be quite well into the game, as even though, yet again, he has lost the base, his allies are winning the water, and that could be a pretty big boost to their economy overall and help them in the game and in the minutes to come. But still, it has to be said that he was the most valuable player in Civilization as well as the Mongol, for the late game especially. So that's of course a pretty big problem and something that will really cost VIKs quite a lot, and it will be very hard for them to come back, I'm thinking. Even though on the water, yet again, they are doing a decent job. Even though on Crater Lake all the gold is basically in the middle, since they are having the Spanish for the trade, they shouldn't be having any kind of problems, because of course if they build the markets in here they are having pretty decent trade route and it should be pretty much fine. But they will need to clear the forest lines, because otherwise they are going to get cluttered quite strongly, especially with a TC positioned like this, exactly in the way where the trade cards will be attempting to go. Not really ideal at all. So right now, who is this? That's Courage going already into war galleys. So purple villagers already into safety at the back, as Wolfie was trying to make them think otherwise. Winchester at 11 villagers. 11 villagers. Oh man, poor souls. They're not going to survive. 11 villagers at 25 minutes. Pretty tough situation for him. But still, yet again, it's not over. There's probably going to be a lot of fighting to be had before this is anything like done. Because on the water, the advantage is quite clear for the Berserkers. Nicely played by Skull, has to be said. Pretty good idea by CZ overall. And they will be getting a lot of extra resources in not only the gold, but the stone as well. And those two gold mines, though, they are going to be super important on a map like this. You also see that at the bottom, there's not going to be any easy breach from Skull. Because, of course, this is guarded not only from the water, but from the land as well. And through the stone walls also. So it's not really going to be easy. And he should be basically right now booming full on, so that he is prepared. For the next minutes. But otherwise, for example, Courage is at 1 to 30 TC right now being built. Blue is 1 TC, 2nd TC, 3 TCs. Basically getting ready for the economy with 4 TC, so that's pretty decent boom. And on the safe map, we can definitely afford it. And yep, be quite fine as a Mongol for the late game setup. 1, 2 TCs in here. We have seen the third on the other side of the map, of course. And for the green player, how's it looking for him? 1 TC still, but he is in feudal age, so he's probably going to be slinging, right? He's already slinging into Skull, so he's hoping that Skull on his side of the map will be the one to win the water. Or rather, in the water, not really win the battle overall. Moving in with it all. Not really going to be anything nice waiting for him in here. Even though the Mangonels could be not half bad against the boats. Yeah, a lot of lag it seems like right now. Fortunate for the players, but let's hope that it's not going to be lasting for too long, as we are also seeing that Teal is quite nicely controlling the base or rather the shoreline of the opponents and basically trying to make sure that these guys in blue especially are not having any easy time of building anything or gathering any kind of resources, but also with the castle, if it's going to be dropped and finished by Follow Your Mind, which definitely seems like that it will, it's really going to be a pretty easy situation for him to move forward with another castle right next to the stone, which is kind of sucky position for him right now. As a Mongol, he needs all of that. But yeah, this castle should be finished, even if he loses a few villages. I'm fairly certain he's not going to mind oil at all. Coinage for Courage, so probably going to be slinging into Winchester a bit to get him back into the game, as he's right now all over the place, going for a stone mine potentially. But yeah, he's having enough sheep in there to kickstart his economy yet again, even from the 9 villages, so he has actually managed to somehow lose 2 extra villages. Probably 2 wolves or some such nonsense. Or maybe this is the extra 2 in here. Okay, yeah, that was exactly it. I was looking at 11 when he was fighting or rather running with the last 2 villages, which he actually didn't succeed with, obviously. That means that the count is correct and he has been able to save all that he could save. Gonna come for the stone, of course, as he will need all the extra Spanish. Probably going to be attempting some conquistadors as well, not only the paladins. And well, we can see that warrior, even in Castle Age, not really wanted to go for the war guys and such, as it's not really needed all that much, as it seems like that Kirch, as the Viking, is quite capable of keeping the water in check just by himself, also by the boats all around the shore. But he should be really mopping up with Green, because Green is also a Viking, and even though he is slinging, once he potentially advances into the next ages, if Caesars basically deem slinging not necessary anymore, he's of course going to be a pretty big threat even on the water, and could be somehow staging a comeback in there. Pausing still going on. Basically second row of walls, in case the first one failed. Which definitely could fail quite easily, as it's just a palisade and one house, so nothing like the strong stone wall on the other side from Courage. But Market already getting ready, and of course, we'll be expecting Market from the other players there as well pretty soon. As we are resuming the game, and there are, oh well, 2 transport ships quite nicely ready. Fortunately, yeah, don't have anything to transport anymore, so he's definitely going to be helped by the economy on the water, Winchester, as that's, right now, half of his eco, quite literally. He's having 9 villages, 9 fishing boats, and still the game is not really going up for him so far. Oh, your mind switching into Imperial. With Castle Age from Nazgul, exactly. As Nazgul seems to be in a good position, doesn't really need to sling all that much anymore, and does have enough resources to advance into his ages himself. And it's going to be castle drop. Oh yeah. Might be a bit tricky, because of the outpost and the Mangonel, of course. It's like the house is going to be needed first. Not exactly sure for which reason, because obviously he's not really needed anymore, or rather, just now as fast, but well, yeah, whatever suits the gameplay. Yep, it's not going to be all that easy, because the Mangonel is in place, and is definitely going to be aiming to stop something like this. At any rate, it could potentially be a rough problem with the gold for Skull at the very top, because of course Winchester is going to be trying to disrupt that together with Courage, who is having even better range. Just going to turn off the chat for the remainder of the game, and we are seeing exactly the castles as we were expecting, moving a bit forward with the second one, because he is right now in a pretty good position to basically secure the water for himself under the castles, and that will mean he will basically allow a comeback of himself. And let's see if Kirch will be strong enough to deal with it, because I'm not exactly all that sure that he will, especially since Imperial Age is coming in from Follow Your Mind, and it seems like that the only Imperial Age so far is from Warrior, and even the Warrior is Han. Yeah, I'm not exactly seeing how we could be actually fighting against all of this, especially since he isn't the one on the water, and Kirch is, so Kirch needs to advance into Imperial Age pretty soon, otherwise the water is going to be coming back, or rather coming back, never was CZ's, is going to be coming into CZ's power. It's basically waiting on the left side. I would really like the castle, because if he could get at least a few petards, he would be very easily getting through the walls. He could basically tank through the cap trams, and or maybe even just hide, or rather, cannot really hide petards. They are siege, right? And siege weapons cannot be hidden, cannot be garrisoned, so yeah, they cannot really be hidden. That was a kind of idea, but that's not what the mechanics of the games allow. So let's see how these rams are going to be working. So far seem to be working quite fine, but of course the Mangonel is going to be having a few things to say about that. But still, he's just alone, and he's still taking about 3 shots to kill one cap tram, so of course it's not going to be all that fast for him to take it down. And looking at the water so far, we are seeing Teal together with Red still quite nicely guarding in here, but Blue quite interested in a bit of a peek in there, and maybe taking the water for himself. Let's see. Definitely aiming for a full-on water fight. Switching into Follow Your Mind's point of view, and looking how. Oh yeah, he's building so many of them. So that's going to be basically a storm happening in there, as those boats are not really doing all that much. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe they could even shoot at those villages. Not really sure that they couldn't. So yeah, it's some kind of idea that they might actually want to keep an eye on, especially as far as Scourge goes. Let's have a look at the top of this part of the map, where the blue is right now engaging fully with the teal player, and let's see who is going to emerge victorious. Right now blue using this to build another dock in pretty advantageous position. 7 plus 2, 8 plus 3. Already galleons, of course, so that's the difference. 30 hit points difference, and of course 7 plus 3, 6 plus 2. Oh yeah. This should be total slaughter and absolutely easy win for Follow Your Mind, because there shouldn't be much that the teal player could be doing against this without Imperial Age, which is coming in, but still it's not really anywhere close by, especially since Warrior has been breached on the left and the castle is right now gonna get finished, and that's going to be a very important stage in the game, because it will help in the defense against all the boats. But with the Cavaliers already into the opponent's base, he's going to be killing the economy of Warrior, who is dropping to 73, whereas Follow Your Mind is 149. Nazgul 62, not much, but he's, of course, he was slinging for quite some time, and is a Viking, so not really important in the game all that much. Then Skull at 79, whereas opponent's Warrior 71, Courage 89, and Winchester back from 9 into 42, so he's definitely doing what he can. But unfortunately, as he's right now at 3 TC, oh, 3, sorry, 5, 5 TC, so that he basically comes back as fast as possible. It's going to be probably a bit too late to join into the fight, and unfortunately, Warrior wasn't ready for this attack at all, and is going to be suffering quite a lot of damage, and that's not really good for him at all. Right now, switching, last moment, into Knights. Oh yeah, nicely preparing, come on, hit! Oh, ho, ho. Oh well, yeah. Unfortunately, Skull mismanaged, and he let all those 3 guys in, and he definitely could have prevented it, but wasn't fast enough in the click-in, and the Cavaliers from Warrior are going to be enough, at least for the moment, to stop the castle from coming up. But the TC has fallen, and that also means that the second TC is probably not going to be far behind. What we expect should be really easy for them, and we are also seeing that on the water, Teal is right now next to a castle, next to his docks, basically waiting for the inevitable and waiting for all the upgrades like Galleons, Chemistry, which are also coming. Chemistry is coming for Follow Your Mind. As he is also right now landing the middle island, going for castle and siege workshop, and basically this is going to be right now the deal, as even though Red was attempting exactly the same, going for the island, it's a bit too late, and Courage is going to be the only one on here, so that's basically last minute transport onto the island before CZs would be capturing it for themselves. Let's see about that. Blue right now is probably thinking that it's just all his. Yeah, this castle is not gonna get finished all that easily. Both of these guys just building castle right next to each other and not knowing about it. Oh man. Oh man, and he's having 5 villages, literally the same. A few extra from blue, but looking how this is halfway done, it should be finished sooner than that, but probably won't matter all that much because this castle will quite possibly come up as well. Big water fight happening in here between Teal and blue. Looking at the upgrades 8373, 7384, so even the Vikings is of course having a better attack right about now, with more in there. And better shields as well. So he's having pretty decent upgrades, which will definitely make quite a big difference. And Follow Your Mind should be a bit more careful, because right now he should be getting killed if Teal is having enough reinforcements. So far he seems to be having so. Doing so and having them. Gems for Follow Your Mind, and Botkin Arrow Chemistry Conscription for Skull. It's almost looking like that he actually wants to go for Conquistadors. Let's have a quick look. As he's right now, his attack has been stopped, and Warrior is doing a pretty good job in the defense, and Winchester is definitely clawing his way in. He's at 84 villages already, and CZs might want to be super careful, because they might have actually underestimated the situation, and it might come back to bite them quite strongly if they are not really careful, because you can see that this trade route might be in danger in case they are actually unsuccessful in coming back into the water. But so far Blue is doing a pretty good job against Teal. And basically this is going to be all about Courage versus Follow Your Mind, and who wins the water basically wins the game in here. Alright, now finally upgrades coming in for Follow Your Mind, 8+4, 8+1, so they are basically fully equal, and well, it's going to be all up to their skill in maneuvering and reinforcements. Who is actually going to win? On the main island though, we are seeing that actually the switch into Siege Workshop sooner than what Courage had helped them quite nicely with the castle, and the second castle from Follow Your Mind has been finished as well, and that means that once they had their fun with all those wolfies, are gonna come in and will be coming for Winchester's, or rather for Town Center and the gold, and then potentially even for Winchester's docks and such. If they somehow can. So Red. Oh, what's happening in here? Is that some kind of landing somewhere? Oh, it's going to be a raiding landing. That's a good idea. And is he going for those rams, or maybe basically just drop it to Nazgul's base? I'm kind of thinking the second letter. And that's definitely a pretty great idea, and it could be working quite nicely for them. Yeah, this is steel, there's no danger whatsoever. And it's going to be super big surprise. Super big surprise, as we are also seeing that on the left, yeah, bombard cannons are actually the reason for the chemistry are coming into play. And as a Spanish, bombard towers. Oh man, bombard tower spam incoming, and that's a pretty huge problem right now for Warrior. Yes, even though he's going for Fortune, he's having decent army. Well, he's going to be having decent army of Cavaliers. That's of course not going to be helping him against Halberdiers together with the towers. So right now I'm going to be trying to get rid of all of this, as we are seeing the landing of the Cavaliers right on the green side of the island. And let's go, have a bit of fun. We're going for a siege workshop. Probably some defense onto boats, not exactly sure. What's the idea behind it, as yellow is still trying to use the bounties of Winchester's base, but yeah, this trade is going to be quite problematic because he's probably gonna stop a whole lot of villages from gathering. You can see that he's right now basically panic mode, trying to build a castle, and yellow should do something with the walling. There's a castle attempted to be built, which will be built even with the extra fire from the boats, because they are not really shooting at anything worthwhile, especially since blue is right now going to be cleaning up. But they need to be careful at the back, because if something gets into the trade route, yep, that's where problems will be coming in. But in here, red is breached yet again, fully. And with the siege workshop right now coming up, and all the bombard towers coming up as well, this is a whole different situation. Of course, bombard cannons and halberdiers, that's pretty decent counter to anything that right now VIKs can be mustering against them. Let's have a look at Winchester, how he's getting ready. He's a Mongol, so he is switching right now finally into castle. He's still not in Imperial Age. But even in Castle Age, the Mangudais could be pretty strong, and he is at the 145 economy from 9 villagers that he was reduced to in this game. Dropping a castle on the right side, and oh, there could be something happening in here as well, towards the blue player. So definitely Caesars need to be careful, as of course, even though Red right now might be losing the battle in here, he's of course going to be replaced by the purple one quite soon, and it might be as easy as Caesars hope. As even though, really, this is looking quite nice from yellow, he's probably gonna be stopped about this situation in here once the castle drops and the Mangudais are coming into play. Middle island basically in full on power, of course. The blue player, as the red radiant is going all around the island in here, or rather all around the mainland, trying to kill as much as he can. But doesn't seem like that is really all that effective so far. 113 villages from Nazgul, 22 idle. At least something, but with this castle right now finished, it seems to be at pretty much the crucial spot to both defend the tree line and the farms. It seems to be reasonably safe, and there shouldn't be all that much of a problem for him to defend against that. Our towers still coming up, with the Cavaliers trying to get rid of absolutely everything. And Masonry, plate armor, so not really interested in the Paladins yet, as he seems to be quite comfortable with this situation as it is. But GG is being called as extra upgrades are coming in, and this means that CZ Clan are capturing the bronze banner from RTS League season 39. So congratulations on that, and we have seen very nice games in this bronze banner battle. All three of them were quite interesting, and it almost looked like that actually VIKs might be able to claw their way back into the game, especially as far as Winchester goes. But CZs, they recognized that the situation was getting kinda hairy, and they hurried up, and they were able to clean up in time with their opponents. Even though on the water it really wasn't looking all that awesome still. The blue was doing what he could. But with Winchester kinda dead, or rather Warrior kinda dead right now, dropped to just 29 villages. You can see he was having like 120. That's a good reason why to resign in a situation like this, because right about now I'm thinking that Winchester still wasn't ready to deal with onslaught like that, especially wasn't even Imperial Age. And it wasn't because he would be slinging or some such. So let's have a look at the achievements. With Follow Your Mind having pretty decent points in here, but Skull, yeah, the idea from CZs overall was pretty nice. It's pretty nice indeed, so they deserved all of them the MVP for this game. But Winchester, nice comeback from him, and Warrior Didn't play bad either. Encourage on the water, of course. That was his victory in there. Well, this is it right now for the penultimate match of the season 39 of RTS League's Age of Empires to the Conquerors Clan League, and we are going to be waiting for just the last game, the Grand Finals. GG.